Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're here with Film Theory. Now honestly, when I saw this, I thought it was a different show or something, but anyway, this one is on Disney's Connected Universe, and ironically had the title of Ariel is related to Hercules? Huh. Not sure how deep this rabbit hole's going, but let's go together, guys. I'll link the original video down below. Be sure to check it out. If you like this, like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to recommend some other videos for me to react to. Let's go.
It's a theory, a Disney theory. Two films related might be related surprisingly. Even though he's a demigod and she hangs out with arthropods, though they're sequestered, they share ancestors. It's a theory.
What? So, what? It's just focusing on those two? Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing that's where it's going. I guess I was thinking too much about it. Here we go. Let's see if we can make this interesting.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show where I go to Hades and back to unearth the hidden truth behind movies made for children. Speaking of Hades, today we turn to an often overlooked, but in my opinion, tragically underappreciated Disney classic. Now granted, when it first came out in the late 90s, I didn't go to see it because I was at an age where I was like, psh, I'm too old for Disney movies, all the cool kids are into Digimon. Actually, that's a complete lie. I never thought I was cool.
Ouch. Honestly, I think I remember seeing
finally
it,
getting
but
around to watching this for the first time. I
hurts.
was really excited about the cool powers of the Titans and Meg's killer princess song. I gotta admit, though, I was a bit disappointed not to see Sora and Sephiroth running around. Anyway, something in the back of my head kept niggling away. Niggle, niggle, it went. Something just felt off. Niggle, niggle, it continued. But then it hit me the moment I saw that fun and oh so obvious Scar Easter. Hercules' dad is Zeus, right?
True.
Zeus! Gad! Zeus! And that one single and obvious fact has huge ramifications for literally every Disney movie you know and love. Because if you thought Pixar had a connected universe, well then get ready, because Disney has been doing it for decades, and it all starts with good old Herc. Because the man who put the Glad in Gladiator is a literal blood relative to perhaps the most popular Disney princess of all time. I'm talking Fish Girl Ariel. They are cousins, and that is just the tip of the iceberg, my dear theorists. Tighten up those togas, because you will never look at the wonderful world of Disney the same way again. First, to show you how some of Hercules' immortal blood is also running through Ariel's gills, we have to go a few branches up his family tree. According to the movie, Hercules is the son of Zeus and Hera, and if we're going by classical mythology standards, that's only partly right. First off, Hercules is his Roman name. If we're going off of Greek mythology, like literally everyone else in the movie, his name technically should be Heracles. That name just doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nicely, so for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna call our hero by his Roman name Hercules, and the rest of the gods by their Greek names like they do in the movie. My apologies to any class majors with sensitive ears. Just trying to spread the good word. The other problem is that Hera is definitely not Hercules' loving mother as shown in the movie. You see, Zeus was up on Olympus when he saw and fell in love with a mortal woman named Alcmene, so he did what any rational person would do in such a situation. Disguised himself as Alcmene's husband, who was away at war, went to Alcmene's house shouting, "Honey, I'm home," and quickly made himself a little demigod. This got a bit awkward when the real husband came home literally the next night and his wife was like, "What? You weren't here last night?" So, yeah, Hera wasn't a big fan of the half-son whose existence was a constant reminder of her husband's infidelity. You know those two snakes we see baby Hercules strangle in the movie and it's all totally cute? Well, according to legend, those weren't minions of Hades. They were sent by Hera herself to murder baby Hercules in his crib. Awkward! I get that Disney doesn't want to tell you that story for several reasons, but is it really better for Zeus to father Hercules with Hera, who, according to mythology, is technically his sister? You'd think I'd seen enough Game of Thrones at this point not to throw up in my mouth a little when I think about that, but nope. Hercules in the movie is on par with Prince Prick himself. At any rate, the important bit here is Hercules' father, which is Zeus both in the movie and in myths. Zeus is the son of the Titans, Cronus and Rhea, the same Titans which the Muses tell us that he overthrew at the beginning of the movie.
And then along came Zeus, he hurled his thunderbolt. He's out like those suckers in a ball.
Cronus Venus and Ray had 3 sons who ended up ruling the 3 major realms of the world.
Zeus.
Who ruled over the heavens, Hades,
Hades.
ruler of the underworld, and
Poseidon.
ruler of the sea.
Sea.
In Hercules, we get a lot of the first 2, but not so much of Poseidon, but rest assured he's definitely there if you look closely. According to myth, Poseidon isn't quite as active on Tinder as his brother Zeus, but he has a number of notable children himself, like Theseus, the hero who kills the Minotaur, and Triton, the merman who serves as trumpeter of the sea. And some of you may be ahead of me at this point, but if you haven't seen The Little
Yeah, of
Mermaid in a
course.
few years, let me connect the dots for you. Ariel's father, the guy who looks like Mermaid Santa Claus, is named King Triton.
Triton,
Therefore, Ariel's grandfather is Poseidon,
And
and her
himself.
great-grandfather is Cronus, the Titan who is grandfather of Hercules himself. Put it all together, map out that family tree, and we have Hercules and Ariel as cousins. Now prepare yourselves for the twist. The twist is that there is no twist. It's cut
Really?
dried. This isn't a film theory, this is a film fact, a mythological fact. Some might argue that we have no idea that this Triton is the same Triton who's nephew of Zeus, but his depiction in Little Mermaid matches pretty well the image we get of him in classical mythology. A bearded half-man, half-fish who lives in a golden palace under the sea. No word on whether that golden palace has the same, power as we got on the original VHS cover of The Little Mermaid, but having seen my fair share of Greek art, I wouldn't put it past him. Now, this is the point in the episode where you're probably tempted to subscribe, so you should totally do that. Stab that subscribe button down below with your
True,
giant
but
Poseidon fork,
considering
and
the
leave a comment
time,
letting me know
there's
what your
some
favorite
more.
Disney movie is in the next 5 seconds. I'm not gonna do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing, but, you know, time it out yourself. We'll go on the honor system here. This is also the point in the episode where a lot of you are probably like, yeah, you stupid dingle hopper, who cares? It's not like this random little Easter egg means anything for Disney as a whole. And you know what? For as much as it hurts me to be called a fork, I respect your desire for the deeper meaning of things. And in this case, the deeper meaning is that
True.
once you start connecting Hercules and Little Mermaid, lots of other dominoes start to fall. We've already covered some surprising Disney connections before, like how Elsa from Frozen and Rapunzel from Tangled would technically genetically be twin sisters. Click right over here if you missed out on that one. But even if you don't believe that theory, at the very least, we see Rapunzel in the final scenes of Frozen, meaning that those two worlds are connected both in time and place. And what we've covered in today's episode means that we can now link those two to Hercules as well. In that past episode, we mapped out how the king and queen from Frozen, Agnar and Iduna, were killed when their ship capsized on their trip from western Norway to Germany. We don't get the clearest look at the ship that's carrying Agnar and Iduna, but from the shape alone, it looks like it could be the same sunken ship Ariel is looting at the beginning of Little Mermaid. And geographically, it makes a
look
lot
like
of
it, but
sense.
there
Assuming
could be
Agnar and
many
Iduna were
others
taking
like
a direct
it,
route
no?
from Arendelle in western Norway to the northern coast of Germany, their ship likely sank somewhere off the west coast of Denmark. Can you name where the fairy tale The Little Mermaid is based on comes from? Survey says
Denmark.
Denmark! Number one answer! And literally the only answer because it's just a fact. It's just a one answer fact. The Little Mermaid is originally from the works of Hans Christian Andersen, a 19th century Danish author of children's books and fairy tales. Now that doesn't outright prove that Disney's Little Mermaid is set in Denmark, but we do have other clues. Remember Prince Eric's crusty caretaker Grimsby? Well, Grimsby is a Danish name coming from the name that the Nordic god Odin would take when he disguised himself as a human to hit on women. Side note, what is with the gods dressing up as people to mac on human beings? You know what the best pickup line in the world is? I'm a god. I literally control some giant element of nature. You know what? If she's not impressed with that, hey, she wasn't
I
worth your
think
time,
if
buddy.
he
You were
did
too
that,
good for
people
her
would
to
think you're
begin with.
crazy.
Now, astute British
You know?
viewers might argue that Grimsby is also the name of a town in northeastern England, which is definitely true, but it's also true that this town was established in the 9th century AD by Danish Vikings. So with all these clues in place, we could be like 99% confident that Hercules connects with Little Mermaid, Tangled, and Frozen. And if you think this is as far as the connections go, you ain't seen nothing yet. The
Oh,
Little
boy.
Mermaid also features a couple of important characters we've seen in one of Disney's all-time classics. Late in the movie, Prince Eric is about to marry Ursula in her human disguise when Scuttle and the other sea creatures crash the wedding. In the chaos that ensues, we see Eric's dog Max run across the screen, and for a split second behind him, we can catch a glimpse of two wedding guests who should look pretty familiar. The King and the Grand Duke
Cinderella.
from Cinderella. But now we're just connecting these movies in one long chain by saying that Hercules is related to the Little Mermaid and that the Little Mermaid is related to the rest. Surely there's nothing to suggest that a movie like Cinderella can be connected back to Hercules, a movie about ancient Greece that was released almost 50 years later, right? Well,
True.
check this out. In an early scene of Cinderella, the king is complaining to the Grand Duke about how his son won't settle down and give him grandchildren. For a brief moment, we see that the king has 3 books on his desk.
Yeah.
One by the French Renaissance author Francois Rabelais, which
Homer,
makes sense given that the
Plato,
original
and-
version of Cinderella was by a French author, another by the Greek philosopher Plato, and the last by the Greek poet Homer. In the modern world, only 2 epic poems are attributed to Homer. The Iliad, about the Trojan War, and the Odyssey, about Odysseus' journey home from the Trojan War. And guess who shows up in both of those poems?
Hercules?
Well, actually, it's Heracles because Homer was
right,
Greek,
right,
but
of
we've been
course.
over that already. Hercules'
Yeah.
ghost meets Odysseus when the latter travels to the underworld in Book 11 of the Odyssey, and although Hercules doesn't actively do anything in the Iliad, he's mentioned by name several times. Regardless of which book in particular this is, the connections we talked about today prove that Cinderella is set in a world in which the stories of Greek mythology actually exist. And based on the connections we talked about today, we know that those stories aren't just stories. They're not just myths. They really happened in the past. And if we can connect stories seemingly as unrelated as Hercules and Cinderella, I'd say it's likely that we're just scratching the surface here. Could Elsa's ice powers have come from an ancient Greek ancestor? Could Rapunzel's healing hair have any relation to Hercules? Is the existence of magic in the wonderful world of Disney somehow tied to all of these mythological illusions? Everyone has known for a long time the careful attention to detail Disney puts into its animations. But if we can put Hercules, The Little Mermaid, Tangled, Frozen, and Cinderella all into the same universe, can we really say that any other Disney
Well,
movies
wouldn't
are
Cinderella
outliers? There
technically
is
be,
no
you know,
telling
a
how
different
deep this
universe?
rabbit hole
'Cause
goes. And you
we
can
all
bet
know
that this
that
is a topic
Iliad
we're
and
going
the
to
Odyssey
continue to
were more
explore in
fiction
upcoming
than
episodes.
fact.
So again, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you spear that subscribe button. Now, if you'll
Subscribe,
excuse me, I
sure.
have a few more questions to get answered. Like, if Triton is Ariel's father, what happened to her mother? I think I may have spotted her in Never Neverland. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Hey, if you enjoyed this theory and missed the Tangled Frozen episode I mentioned earlier, make sure you click on that one. Find out how Anna and Elsa aren't technically sisters. Or if you're looking for some more classic Disney action, click the box to the right, which will tell you the truth behind Snow White's sleeping death. It will literally blow your mind. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's really hot in my recording closet because it is just sweltering in California, so I need a drink of water before I pass out.
Yeah, good call. Well, I'll admit, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.